Greetings. Today is Monday, May 5th, 2025. Last week, we got the advanced estimate for first quarter GDP, and it has demonstrated once again that you cannot manage your portfolio based upon what the experts tell you is going to happen. Because last week's data suggests that a lot of these experts, even those closest to the data, they got it very, very wrong. One of the sources that I look at regularly is the Conference Board. And you can see as of April 4th of this year, they were forecasting relatively muted growth for each quarter of this year. So they were forecasting a 1% growth rate for the first quarter of the year. That is not that far off from what happened, especially when you compare it to the folks at the Federal Reserve. As you likely know, the Federal Reserve is the nation's central bank. What you may not realize is that it is comprised of 12 largely independent Federal Reserve banks spread across the country. But these 12 banks comprise part of the Federal Reserve System, and I would argue that these are the folks that are the closest to the data. And as I'm about to show you, even these experts, the ones that have the best data, they got it very, very wrong. On the screen right now, I've got the Atlanta Federal Reserve's GDP Now tool. I talk about this tool a lot. Up until recently, I've used it a lot. Not sure I can use it anymore, given how wrong they were. Their tool was forecasting negative 2.7% GDP as of April 29th. Now, we take a look at the New York Federal Reserve. They have a tool called the New York Fed Nowcast, and they were forecasting positive 2.6%. So two members of the Federal Reserve System, two banks of the Federal Reserve System are forecasting completely different data points. And that is a very, very wide margin. So what ended up happening? So last Wednesday, the Bureau of Economic Analysis released the first quarter estimate, and they came in at negative 0.3%, which is far different than what the Atlanta Federal Reserve folks and the New York Federal Reserve folks said. This is why we do not manage money based upon an expert opinion or an expert forecast. There is a high probability that they're going to be wrong. Do you really want to risk big decisions based upon some forecast that could easily be wrong? And plenty of evidence suggests these folks are frequently wrong. So we would encourage you, follow your investment management process. Follow your investment management rules. If you don't have any, you might want to consider hiring somebody who does. If you want to learn more, by all means, feel free to reach out.